these patterns appear, understand this. Someone's heart is breaking in silence because your absence weighs heavier than they'll ever confess. Listen carefully to what I'm about to reveal. Right now, somewhere in this world, there's a person you believed had forgotten you. Someone appearing strong, composed, perhaps even indifferent. But beneath that carefully constructed surface, they're drowning, they're suffering, and the source of their anguish. They long for you far more intensely than pride allows them to acknowledge. Here's what most people misunderstand about emotional pain. It rarely announces itself through obvious tears or desperate messages. Instead, genuine heartache conceals itself behind withdrawn behavior, altered patterns, and barely noticeable signals. Today, I'm decoding those signals, not from superficial observations, but from psychological depth. Because longing for another human being isn't fragility. It's evidence that something authentic existed between two souls. And when these indicators surface, recognize this truth. They're waging an invisible war within themselves, a conflict between dignity and desire, between vulnerability and yearning, between releasing and grasping. Let's uncover these truths. Sign 1. Their outward composure masks profound internal shifts. The most telling indicator someone's heart aches for your presence isn't found in their words. It's sensed in their altered essence. They might display smiles, they might generate laughter, they might convince others everything's perfectly fine. Yet something fundamental has transformed. Their vitality feels muted. Their aura carries additional weight. Their eyes have lost that distinctive sparkle they once possessed. This transformation occurs because yearning depletes emotional reserves. When you're separated from someone who represented sanctuary, your entire nervous system registers threat. Consequently, they activate emotional defense mechanisms. They compress feelings, pursue distractions, maintain appearances. However, suppressed emotions inevitably surface. That's why their joy seems manufactured. Their passion dissolves rapidly. Their excitement proves fleeting. They're not dissatisfied with existence itself. They're dissatisfied without your presence in it. And what makes this particularly challenging, they can't always articulate why this emptiness persists. Sign 2. They oscillate between unusual withdrawal and excessive communication. Heartache manifests uniquely across individuals. Some retreat into profound silence. Others overflow with constant conversation. Both responses signal identical underlying turmoil. When silence dominates, they're constructing protective barriers. Quietness becomes their armor because speaking risks accidentally mentioning your name. Opening up threatens exposing vulnerable truths, so withdrawal offers safety. When they become overly talkative, they're practicing self-distraction. They saturate empty spaces because quietness resurrects memories of you. They maintain superficial dialogues because deeper discussions inevitably circle back to you. Regardless of direction, their behavioral patterns have shifted. And that shift didn't materialize randomly. It emerged from separation, from craving, from emotional starvation. Because when someone genuinely aches for your company, your physical absence creates deafening internal noise. Sign 3. They observe you from distance without initiating contact. This pattern carries tremendous significance. They monitor your social media updates. They study your posted content. They register when you're digitally active. They notice when you disappear, yet they never send messages. What prevents them? Because missing you creates suffering, but reaching out generates even more intense terror. They fear potential rejection, appearing desperate, reopening healed wounds, discovering you've successfully moved forward. So they maintain calculated distance, near enough to preserve connection, distant enough to maintain protection. They desperately want answers. Are you experiencing happiness? Do thoughts of them still cross your mind? Has someone else claimed their position? Every single update inflicts emotional torment, yet they cannot cease watching because when someone misses you profoundly, even anguish surpasses complete emptiness. Sign 4. They display heightened emotional volatility and irritability. Have you observed them becoming easily agitated, displaying shortened patience, demonstrating emotional hypersensitivity? This isn't genuine anger. This represents grief wearing frustration's disguise. When someone yearns for you yet cannot access you, their emotions lack proper outlets. Consequently, trivial matters feel overwhelming. Minor inconveniences appear monumental. Small setbacks register as personal attacks. Why does this occur? Because emotional suffering diminishes frustration tolerance. They're already carrying internal pain. Therefore, additional stressors become unbearable. And fundamentally, they're not angry at external circumstances. They're angry at situational constraints. They're angry at unfortunate timing. They're angry at themselves. But predominantly, they're furious that they miss you this intensely. Sign 5. They repeatedly attempt moving forward but consistently fail. This represents one of the most heartbreaking indicators. They actively try replacing your presence. They pursue romantic interests, engage in flirtation, seek distractions, yet nothing establishes permanence. Every new relationship feels hollow. Every conversation lacks substance. Every moment of joy proves temporary. Because when someone has authentically connected with your essence, surface-level interactions cease providing fulfillment. They unconsciously compare everyone against you. They search for your characteristics in strangers. They involuntarily replay shared memories, and this pattern makes them feel damaged. They question themselves, why can't I progress? What deficiency exists within me? Nothing is fundamentally wrong with them. They simply remain emotionally tethered to you. Sign 6. They reference you through indirect language. They avoid speaking your actual name, instead mentioning someone from my history, a previous connection, a person I once knew. They resurrect stories only you could comprehend. They express feelings linked to experiences you shared together. This serves as their method of preserving you emotionally alive, because vocally pronouncing your name would crystallize reality, and confronting reality would inflict unbearable pain. So they speak around your existence, about your impact, through symbolic language. This represents longing attempting respiration without drawing attention. Sign 7. They encounter unpredictable surges of melancholy. They'll function normally one instant and appear emotionally distant the next. A melody, location, fragrance, recollection. Suddenly their chest constricts with heaviness. They don't always comprehend why, yet their physical body remembers your presence. Because emotional connections don't reside exclusively in conscious thought. They inhabit the nervous system, exist in cellular memory, live within cardiac tissue. Missing another person transcends mere emotion. It's physiological, and that's precisely why healing requires substantial time. Sign 8. They inquire about your well-being through intermediaries. They won't approach you directly, yet they question mutual friends. They contact shared acquaintances. They casually introduce your name into conversations. How have they been? Are they content? Have you communicated with them lately? They seek reassurance. They desire hope. They need confirmation they still hold significance, because missing you has planted a persistent question inside them. Did I matter to them as profoundly as they matter to me? Sign 9. They experience difficulty sleeping or achieving mental rest during nighttime. Darkness poses danger for someone who misses your presence because distractions vanish. Silence amplifies inner voices. Memories intensify in volume. That's when they reconstruct past conversations, imagine alternative outcomes, wonder about your current activities. Their physical body registers exhaustion, yet their consciousness refuses surrendering to rest because unresolved emotional matters don't sleep peacefully, and missing someone generates incomplete narratives within the heart. Sign 10. They genuinely care even while pretending indifference. This stands as the most crucial indicator of all. They care when illness affects you. They care when success finds you. They care when suffering touches you, even if verbal denials emerge, even if cold behavior manifests. Because authentic love doesn't simply evaporate, it transforms states. And missing someone represents love, desperately seeking direction. Message directly for you. If you recognize these patterns, please internalize this understanding. You haven't been forgotten. You weren't insignificant. You couldn't be replaced easily. You altered someone fundamentally. You left permanent marks upon their soul. And that magnitude of impact doesn't fade quickly. However, here's the difficult truth requiring acceptance. You cannot heal another person by returning to them, and you cannot suspend your life indefinitely waiting. If reconnection serves destiny, it will manifest naturally. If conclusion serves destiny, it will provide lessons. Either way, what existed between you possessed authenticity, and authentic connections never completely vanish. They simply transform who we become. Sometimes missing another person generates more suffering than losing them entirely created, because loss provides definitive closure, whereas missing sustains perpetual hope. If someone displays these indicators, they're fighting silent warfare within their emotional center. And if this message located you today, perhaps you required confirmation or tranquility or resolution. Or perhaps someone somewhere misses you right now, in silence, in suffering, in love, and this message discovered you purposefully. This is psychology wisdom. If you're fascinated by concealed truths governing mind and emotion, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to Psychology Wisdom, and activate notifications so you never miss insights that could revolutionize your perspective.